The app available from the App and Play Store.
And continuing my conversation with Dr. Selva Pankaj, who is CEO of Regent Group, we're talking about our changing world on Sunrise Radio. Now, this brings us to a very, very interesting topic, Selva, which is let's talk about money.
Yes.
And right at the onset, you have explained how traditionally many people think that, the M word, money, is not to be mentioned because it's bad or it's, unimportant or it's the wrong thing to be concentrating on in life. There's so much more than just money and all of that. And you say how it's important for us to understand how nothing will take the place of money in the area where money works. There can be no substitute for it.
Yeah.
And you also say that money, like happiness, is an effect. It is a result of a cause, and the cause is valuable service.
Yep.
And you say that money is the only reward which is negotiable.
Absolutely.
Explain that to us a little bit more.
I think, you explained it so well, what's on that section. I think money is a medium of exchange. That's all is money. And money is the reward we get for the service that we provide. The more service we provide, and then you get more of the money. And so that's all to it. And then we talk about, because it's such a sensitive topic, and people talk about money can't buy happiness, money can't do this, and all kind of things people come along. We are putting into context to say, look, all you are doing is, we are talking about how to create success. And when you're providing a service, when you are growth means that, in that service, you're providing more services. You will have a harvest. As long as that harvest is reasonable, it happens within the law and respecting the laws of nature, there's nothing wrong in talking about that. But as long as it is a harvest for our production.
Now, Selva, you also mentioned how much money we make, rather, could also be determined by the demand for what we do,
Absolutely.
right? We are saying right at the onset that money is an effect, and it is the effect of a valuable service.
That's right.
How badly that service that we provide is needed would also directly impact how much it's going to benefit us in terms of money, right? So is it about concentrating on what it is that we are good at, and therefore concentrating on that, becoming the best in that, and doing all we can to provide that valuable service so that the return is just as much?
That's right. I think you've got to again put it into context. Once you have set up your goal, once you know your purpose and why you exist, and then you're growing towards that. We talk about what is success. Success is a progressive realization of a worthy goal. So you're going in that journey, and when you're going in the journey, as we correctly identified in the section, what we're talking about is the demand for what we do, the ability of doing it, and the difficulty of replacing it. One is indispensable, but I think those three things is going back to it is the demand and supply. But if you really look at it, the demand, what you do. Sometimes certain things has got demand. Someone said horse riding. There's a demand. Some people might say, oh, there's no real purpose, but there is a demand for that. That's how the footballers or the celebrities and things. So demand for what you do is there. Then it comes to ability of doing it. That's where the learning comes in. You perfect it. You become good at it.
How well are you doing what is expected of you?
Absolutely. And then while doing that, replacing you is pretty hard, and your stock price goes up. Once your stock price goes up, your harvest goes up. But it's all about that growth in the context of harvest, and when you're good at it, the harvest will go up.
I like the way how you equate our ability to do something well, our ability to meet all these three things that you just pointed out with success, and how a lot of people often put success down to luck. But you also point out how luck is nothing but preparedness meeting opportunity.
I mean, absolutely. I think we've got to really underline these particular concept, and we hear that all the time. Oh, he's lucky, she's lucky, and then those kind of terminologies. And whilst we don't want to necessarily say it's right or wrong, people have got their views, but our view is luck means preparedness and readiness to meet the opportunity. You could sit next to somebody who is whatever in their career or whoever they are, And, taking a photograph, or taking a selfie and putting it in your Facebook, some people do that in life. And then sometime the luck means that there is, in our humble opinion, there is no such thing as luck. It's about, as you said, preparedness and readiness to execute that opportunity. And sometime they also say, and we are linked back to character to this, very interesting, sometime you will get to a position, but in order to maintain that position, you've got to have a character. So the ability, and sometimes they'll say, if it's a promotion sometime, maybe someone says so, and they say, he's lucky, she's lucky, but can they maintain it? And for that, you need character.
To sustain what you've achieved.
Absolutely. It's pretty deep. So therefore, I think I think we loosely use that. I don't think anyone truly mean it. But it is, again, it's our paradigms, isn't it? The words, and it's almost a slang, I would say, rather than people really mean it. They're lucky, things like that.
Now, you also say in this chapter how most of us, rather all of us, we earn in exact proportion to our service. So as you're saying that if you want a growth in your fortune, then you need to be willing to learn more. You need to be willing to constantly push the boundary and work towards wherever it is that you've seen yourself.
That's right.
Eventually.
Absolutely. Again, it comes back to, because sometimes it's so simple. It comes back to, again, cause and effect. Action, reaction. So as we said, every action has got its equal and opposite reaction. So it comes back to what you exactly said. So what we put, what you get. So it all goes back to this basic law. And then you are looking at different context in that law. So if you want a bigger reward, first you have to put it. And it's so interesting. There's another way to explain it. It's like sitting in front of a heating or a wood heater and say, give me the heat. Heat won't come if you don't put the wood. First put the wood and the heat will come. And the problem is, the challenge is, the majority of the population want the heat first and they haven't worked it out. They're going to put the wood first. That's the challenge.
Why do you think, Selva, our default setting is to settle for a lot less than what we are worth, what we are capable of? Does it all again come down to subconscious paradigms
and self-image, and again, you're programmed, and from young age, that's what you have seen. A person, especially my mentor always said, a person who earns $50,000 doesn't even think about somebody earning $500,000. They can't even dream about it because they lock themselves into that. So that's all I can do. But they can earn anything they like. But they got to first program themselves. And once they program themselves, it happens. But the paradigms, going back to the language, that's what they're programmed. That's what they think. That's what they don't think. And then even if they try to think, and then about to come in the awareness level, there's a mass motivation there, and then the other person says, are you mad? How can you do that? And they say, all right, then maybe they're right. And what do? You conform. So you're not the opposite of courage is not cowardice. You conform. Oh, maybe he's right, she's right. And then most of the time is they are slightly senior, or they are teachers, or they are parents, or they are siblings, and they say, oh, they must be right, then I'll go back to my $30,000 or whatever it is. So it's that's the problem. So once you set your own, it's like we talk about in another lesson, it's about our life is like a thermostat. So if you put the room temperature
wherever you set it,
so you put it at 23, and in case if you open the door, the cold air comes in, suddenly it'll pump some heat into the room, and suddenly you're 23, and then you close the door and it re-regulates itself. And that's, we talk about that. It's a great book written by Maxwell Maltz called The Psycho-Cybernetics, and he's relating the human behavior to that thermostat. So if you said to yourself that, that's all you get to. So you'll settle in nicely. You might go up a bit sometime. You come down, you up a bit, but you set your thermostat. Imagine you put it at 30 degrees. You maintain at 30 degrees. So 23 and 30 is $50,000 versus $500,000 million. It's the same.
What do you think would bring about that change in our behavior so we can actually even dream of setting the thermostat to 30, 40, 50? Does it have to be something drastic? Does it have to be something tragic? Or could we just, even in normal circumstances, as you say, as long as we understand the laws of nature, we could start that journey of reprogramming and repositioning?
The first thing you need to know, there's a thermostat on the first place in life. That's the biggest trouble. So if you don't know there's a thermostat, how do
You don't even know what you're aiming
what to set.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't know there was a thermostat until I sort of started to research in this way. So people said, this is, I'm fortunate enough to sort of work with some great people to understand. That's why I'm sharing this information as fast and quickly as possible. So if you don't even know you could set the temperature, you're closing the door, you're running around, and then you're just sort of doing whatever you're doing inside. But all you got to do is change the temperature in that. Imagine you're in a hotel room, you don't know where the thermostat is.
Yeah.
What will you do?
Yeah.
That's the life I think we are. We don't know where the thermostat is. We're just running around.
So essentially you're looking for that, first being aware that there is one,
Exactly.
looking for it, and then kind of reprogramming.
Then it's so simple, isn't it? You put 23, it's at 23.
Yeah.
You know what, I feel like 30.
Yeah.
Stick it in 30 and it'll go to 30.
So I know that, how each of these different topics that we've discussed in this series, how all of them are interlinked and all of them reiterate the same kind of philosophy.
That's right.
Where it is one thing leading to the other. And as you're constantly saying, at no point in life do we arrive at a situation where we say, that's it, we're there and no more. It is a constant process of reevaluation and pushing the boundary and moving on to the next level.
Absolutely.
And reminding ourselves, right,
Absolutely.
where we started and which way we're going. So as you say in this again, that decide what you want, set your own goals, and you need to start working on them now.
Absolutely. It's never too late. And it's not age, it's not your circumstances. I'll do it when I retire, I'll do this. It isn't like that. Just get it done now. Start today. And I think, it could be anything in our life, because it's, again, our paradigms, our language, I keep going back to it, where people can relate to it quickly. So you are just trying to delete something that you know. And then in business terminologies, business schools talks about this unlearn to relearn now. So I think it's the terminology London Business School. And that's what it means. So they talk about unlearn to relearn. What do you mean unlearn to relearn? It's exactly what we are talking. But we are talking in the layman terms, and they are talking to the professors. And then one of the things we're trying to do is, the book I was talking about with you earlier as well, the language we are writing this, not for professionals to read and tap each other and say, oh, that's a wonderful book.
Yeah.
You took that theory and you made it so nice and analyzed it. We are not writing for that. We are writing to the layman. Somebody on the street. Somebody can read this and say, I understand that.
Actually, Selva, let me make a confession right there. When I was told that I would have to do this series of interviews, and I looked at all the material that was there for me to read and, prepare my questions. I mean, my first thoughts, naturally, instinctively, I thought, all right, this is going to be a lot of hard work. This is like going back to school, sitting an exam. But when I started reading exactly as you're saying, I could see myself in all these scenarios. There's nothing that you talk about which is only for a specific set of people or only for a specific kind of person. It applies to all of us who are in this world, here for a purpose, trying to make our lives better, trying to fit in, trying to do things. And I was completely sucked into this world, and I thought, hang on, my first instinct was, once we are done, once this goes up on YouTube, I'm going to ask my own kids to sit and watch this, because there is no age to start. No. A lot of it will make sense, perhaps with a little bit more experience in life than an 11-year-old or a 14-year-old will have. But what you're saying is something so basic yet so true, and something that everyone can relate to. And I think that is where the beauty of this program lies, that it's not specifically for students or for businesses. It is for each one of us to kind of really absorb this and see what we take away from it.
True. And I think, you're talking about the age, and I think, and I also had the same view, maybe I have mentioned before as well. And I used to think, again, I'm learning as well every day. And maybe on one of the programs, I may have said, oh, you got to be a little bit matured. But now, learning this material, even last time to this time, between our recording sessions, it's like the language. As a child, I could learn Hindi, but I will appreciate the intricacies of the language, the beauty of the language, maybe when I'm matured. So it's easy to learn the language when you are young. So therefore, if they start learning this when they are young, they may not fully understand it, but it's been programmed.
Yeah.
So it's sitting there to be unleashed, rather than learning the hard Hindi. way. I'm just talking about I love to learn Hindi, but I am struggling to. But if I was only 8 or 9 or 10, if I'm in a Indian household, I would have picked it up.
Yeah.
So therefore I think you're absolutely right. And I think we now, and again the book and the programs, we are rolling into schools, we are rolling into universities. So let's start this. Let's put them into their subconscious, and at some point it'll unleash.
Download the app from the App and Play Store.